be. You know that I miss you. I wanna get with you tonight, but I cannot. When is the last time you smiled? When is the last time you got dressed up nice?
If you grew up in the late 90s or early 2000s, you remember this song. I Like It, a 12-year-old kid from Florida with a voice smoother than butter singing a love song that had grown women in their feelings. That kid was Sammie. And at the age of 13, he had a gold album, a gold single, a spot on every radio station in the country, and a career that should have made him one of the biggest R&B stars of his generation. Instead, Sammie disappeared. He came back, then he disappeared again. Then he came back again. His career has been a revolving door of promise and setback for over 2 decades. And the reasons why tell a much bigger story about what happens to child stars in the R&B world when the spotlight moves on before they are old enough to drive. Sammie Lee Bush Jr. was born on March 1st, 1987 in Boynton Beach, Florida. This kid was literally born to sing. His mother was a former professional singer who sang in the church choir while she was still pregnant with him. By the age of 4, Sammie was performing his first solo in that same church choir. He attended a school with a music program where his talent stood out immediately. He formed a group with 2 other students called Wonder 3, and they appeared on the television show Showtime at the Apollo. But it was Sammie's solo performance on the Apollo Kids segment in 1998 that changed everything. He sang Stevie Wonder's My Cherie Amour, and the audience lost their minds. He made it all the way to the finals in 1999. And sitting in that audience was legendary producer Dallas Austin, the man behind hits for TLC, Boyz II Men, and Monica. Dallas saw something special in this kid and signed him immediately. At 12 years old, Sammie got his first major recording deal with Capitol Records and Dallas Austin's Free World Entertainment. His debut album, From the Bottom to the Top, dropped in 2000 when he was 13. The lead single, I Like It, peaked at number 24 on the Billboard Hot 100 and number 8 on the R&B charts. Both the single and the album were certified gold. Over 500,000 copies sold. For a 13-year-old kid from Florida, that is an extraordinary accomplishment. He followed it up with Crazy Things I Do, which crossed cultural and age boundaries and solidified him as one of the most promising young artists in R&B. During a school holiday break, Video Music Box played his music video, and when he got back to school, his classmates were asking him if he was the same Sammie they saw on television. His life had changed overnight. He was no longer just a kid from Florida. He was a celebrity. And then he vanished, just like that. At the height of his momentum, Sammie stepped away from the music industry. The decision was partially his own and partially made for him. About 50% of it was a collective decision between Sammie and his parents to let him go back to school and enjoy being a normal kid, making mistakes outside of the public eye, learning how to be a teenager without cameras and journalists following his every move. The other 50% was an executive decision made between his mother, his manager, and Dallas Austin to part ways professionally. The team that built him decided to disband right when things were taking off. And just like that, the kid with the gold album was back in a regular classroom, trying to be a regular student while his peers were bumping his song on the radio. Sammie graduated from high school in 2005, and against his mother's wishes decided not to go to college. He moved to Los Angeles, determined to reignite his music career. He reconnected with Dallas Austin and signed to Austin's Rowdy Records. He went to work immediately with top producers like Brian Michael Cox and Jazzy Faye on his sophomore album. In 2006, the self-titled album Sammie dropped and debuted at number 42 on the Billboard 200, with 2 singles charting on the top R&B songs chart. It was a respectable comeback for a kid who had been away from the industry for 6 years. But here is the reality of the music business. 6 years is a lifetime. The audience that loved I Like It had moved on. The industry had moved on, new artists had filled the space, and Sammie was no longer the adorable 12-year-old singing love songs. He was an 18-year-old trying to compete in an entirely different landscape. The transition from child star to adult artist is one of the hardest things to pull off in entertainment, and very few people manage it successfully. And then came the manager situation that nearly destroyed him. Sammie trusted an ex-manager who ended up mismanaging his finances and resources so badly that the singer was left in serious financial distress. He was living check to check, performing at small concerts just to keep his head above water. The situation got so bad that it interfered with a potential record deal with Interscope Records. A deal that could have changed everything fell apart because of the mess his former manager had created. Sammie had to start over from scratch, again, for the third time in his career. But Sammie refused to give up. In 2008, he was featured on Soulja Boy's massive hit Kiss Me Through the Phone, which peaked at number 3 on the Billboard Hot 100. That feature reminded the world that Sammie could still sing. In 2012, he co-wrote Next Breath for R&B artist Tank, proving that he had grown into a serious songwriter as well. He started his own company called Starcamp Music because Dallas Austin had taught him the most important lesson of his career: take control of your own destiny. He released the EP I'm Him in 2016, and the title track went viral after being picked up by the Shade Room. He said, "I was not even trying to be Sammie the artist. I was cool being behind the scenes just writing, but that record propelled me back to the front." In 2017, his album Coming of Age hit number 11 on the Billboard R&B album sales chart. And in 2019, he independently released Everlasting through Empire and embarked on his first ever headlining tour. In 2020, Sammie joined the Millennium Tour alongside other early 2000s R&B artists, and it was a turning point. He said the tour changed my life and career. He rode the wave of nostalgia that was bringing back appreciation for the R&B era he came from. Then, in June 2022, he appeared at a Verzuz event alongside Ray J, Bobby V, and Pleasure P. The four of them were chaotic, hilarious, and the performance went viral. They eventually formed a group called RSVP and started performing together regularly. Sammie called it beautifully dysfunctional and said fans should expect Verzuz with much better singing. For the first time in years, it felt like Sammie had found his lane. Not as the child star trying to recapture old glory, but as a grown man who had earned his place in R&B through decades of persistence. But Sammie's story took a dark turn in October 2025 when he was arrested in Georgia on assault and child abuse charges. He was accused of assaulting his girlfriend in front of their child. Sammie broke his silence on Instagram saying,
I'm gonna let God have his say, and the courts have their say. The truth shall set you free.
"I am going to let God have his say, and the courts have their say, and the truth shall set you free." As of now, the case is still pending. The arrest shocked fans who had watched Sammie grow up in front of their eyes from a sweet 12-year-old singing "I Like It" to a man now facing serious criminal charges. It was a jarring reminder that the kid we all rooted for grew up to navigate a world that none of us could see behind the curtain. And that is what makes Sammie's story so layered. On one hand, this is a man who achieved success at an age when most kids are worried about homework and video games. He had a gold album at 13. He was on national television. He was signed to a major label, but the infrastructure around him collapsed. His team disbanded, his manager robbed him, the industry moved on while he was still in high school. And every time he clawed his way back, something else knocked him down. He has described his own success as something that did not truly arrive until 6 years ago. Despite having been in the industry for over 2 decades. Think about that. 20 years of grinding before you feel like you have actually made it. Sammie told interviewers, "It is not easy going from teen star to adult. I could easily sell out and do the auto-tune thing, but I have always vowed to stay true to my gut and always create my own lane." That kind of integrity is admirable, but integrity does not pay the bills the way a hit record does. Sammie's story is not just about one artist. It is about every child star who gets chewed up by the music industry before they are old enough to understand what they signed. The contracts they cannot read, the money they cannot manage, the fame they cannot process, the adults around them making decisions that serve everyone except the child in the middle of it all. Sammie is one of the lucky ones in a sense because he survived it. He kept making music, he kept pushing, he built his own company. But the road from I Like It to where he stands today has been 2 decades of proving himself over and over again to an industry that forgot about him the moment he went back to school. Do you think Sammie ever got the recognition he deserved? And do you think the music industry has gotten any better at protecting its child stars? Let us know your thoughts and opinions down below in the comments, and stay tuned for more true celebrity stories.